Hello, my lovely viewers. How are you all? I hope that you all are guys doing so well and you're having fun in your life. Guys, today's topic is gonna be all about, instead of using the word very, because we usually, when we want to express our feelings, something in a very extreme level, we always use the word very to show that how much bad or how much whatever you are feeling, whatever you are kind of feeling you are having. So instead of just always saying very to express your feelings is not enough, right? Because there are so many words in this grammar, in this English language that you can use instead of just always using the word very. So today we are going to learn some advanced words so that by using those words you can replace the word very. So without any further ado, let's go. First one is very perfect. So we always say, your writing is very perfect, you look perfect, or this design, this showpiece just looks perfect in this place. So instead of using very perfect, something which is very perfect, you can say flawless, which mean you can also say for someone, if you want to give a compliment to someone, you look flawless and your handwriting is flawless. Something which is very perfect, you can use the word flawless. And next is, guys, it happens many times when we want to show or we want to say that I am in a pain, or God forbid it's not gonna not happen with anyone, but sometimes there is a situation comes when we have to express what kind of feeling we are having. So sometimes we say it's very painful, or it's my legs are hurting and it's hurting so badly, so it's very painful, or something which is very painful. So we always use very to express how much pain is you are having or someone is having. So instead of saying that it's very painful, you can say excruciating. For example, she was weak and the pain was excruciating, but she was determined to go home. She was at the party and she suddenly started feeling weak from inside, and because of some whatever drink she had, and she feels so weak, and the pain was excruciating, but she was determined to go home. She was still determined that I have to go home, doesn't matter how much pain she is having. So she was weak and the pain was excruciating, but she was determined to go home. So very painful means excruciating. Okay, this word is maybe it's not very common, so you can use those words to impress others. Next is opposite of painful, which is very powerful. So something is very powerful, you can say it's compelling. Your speech is very powerful. It always motivates me, encourages me to do something big. So which means your speech is so compelling that it always encourages me to do something. It always encourages me to let's start doing something, doesn't matter in which level you are right now. So their speech is very powerful, their speech is compelling. For example, you can say he made a compelling argument. So he made a very powerful argument that I have to agree with him, because his argument and the way he used to talk with me is so powerful way, and I am totally convinced by whatever he said. So he made an argument, he made a compelling argument. And next example is the novel was so compelling that I couldn't put it down. I was reading a novel and suddenly I got a call of my parents or of my friend, but that novel was after that call, that novel was this much compelling that I couldn't put it down. I want to read more and more because that novel was so powerful. So it makes me feel I have to read further. So this is what it means. Okay, so instead of saying very powerful, you can say compelling. Okay, so let's move on to our next one, which is very pale. Very pale. Very pale. Instead of saying very pale, you can say ashen. Maybe you don't know the meaning of ashen. So ashen means a piece a piece of furniture that has been through a fire is an example of that is ashen. For example, something whose color is turned into gray because of nervousness, because of whatever reason, their face color changes from white to gray because of nervousness, because of scare, because they are scared of something. So that is what ashen means. For example, you can say his teeth were grinding loudly enough for her to hear, and his face was ashen and drawn in a look of pain. Or you can also say, when a kid don't want to go to school and their parents call their teacher, and when they hear our teacher's voice, his face was completely turned into ashen, and he drawn in a look of pain, or he drawn in a look of afraidness, scariness. So he's so scared that his face is turned into ashen, which means his face color turned into gray, because of nervousness, because they are afraid. So this is what ashen means. So instead of saying very pale, you can say ashen. Next is very quick. Now this you can use, I think these words you can use every single day. Very quick. Something is very quick, or do it quickly. Do it very quickly. I don't have much time. Instead of saying very quick, you can say rapid. Rapid. So she was watching a TV and she watched the rapid battle. So she watched a rapid battle, which means she watched a very quick battle. Okay. Or you can also say the growth of two cities has been rapid since 1990. Instead of saying the growth of two cities has been very quick since 1990, it's not sound so impressive, right? So you can say the growth of two cities has been rapid since 1990. Next is very quiet. Very quiet. Now there are a lot of people in this world who love to be very, very quiet because they don't talk much. They are introvert and they always like to sit alone. They enjoy their me time. So this word you can, when we want to express or when you want to say that their personality is like this, he always very quiet, she always a very quiet person. So instead of saying very quiet, you can say hushed, which means very quiet. For example, you can say, I thought you had to return this, she said in a hushed voice. So she was saying, maybe someone gave them money and she said, I thought you had to return this, she said in a very hushed voice. So she said this very quietly because she knows that she is asking and she is asking about money. So she said in a hushed voice so that it won't offend anyone. I thought you had to return this, she said in a hushed voice. Or you can also express someone's personality by using the word hushed. The person who is very quiet, he's hushed. He's always very quiet. He's always in hushed mode. Okay, and in this way you can use very quiet. Let's move on to our next word, which is very necessary. Something which is important. You cannot skip. You have to do it. This is the last point. You cannot skip this. You have to go with this. This is the last way of reaching the place where you want to go. So this is the last one. It's necessary. This is the last way. It's necessary, which is something which is important, something that is essential. So instead of saying very necessary, very important, you can say essential. Or there are a lot of meanings actually. There are a lot of words. Instead of, you can always say important, there is a mandatory, essential, and paramount. So there are so many words that you can use instead of always saying that something is very important. And most of the time you have heard the word like mandatory in news channels. so they don't use the word very important because it's very common and it's not sounds very impressive, so they use always advanced vocabulary words, so they use the word mandatory, which means very important. And you can also use essential, which also means something which is very important. Okay, this is what this is how you can replace very necessary by using essential. Next is when you are very nervous. It happens many times, most of the time, when we are going for an interview, when we want to take any exam, or you are preparing for any competitive exam, and today is the day when you are going to give that exam. So you said, today I'm very nervous. So instead of saying very nervous, you can say apprehensive. Okay, or you can also use for in a sense of when you want to go but you are a bit confused that should I go there or not. For example, you can say, I want to move out to other country but I'm a bit apprehensive. Should I move out or what do I do? Which means you are not sure that everything will gonna fine there. Maybe you will gonna face some sort of problems, so you are a bit apprehensive that should I go or not. So you are in a dilemma. In this sense you can also use the word apprehensive. Okay, next is very noisy. When their parents are not in their home, always their kids and their cousins all together, they make a lot of noises. They play together, they broke things. So you can say, this house is very noisy, I cannot study here. So instead of saying something very noisy, you can say deafening. So stop making this deafening noise. I can't tolerate this deafening sound of your loud music. It's hurting my ear, it's deafening. So instead of saying very noisy, you can say deafening. Okay, for example, you can say, another brilliant bolt of lightning ended in a deafening clap of thunder. So when a storm comes, always we heard a lot of noises of thunder and lightning. So sometime when it's too hard, it sounds very noisy, it's deafening. So this is how you can use a deafening word instead of saying very noisy. So the sound of thunder and lightning is deafening. Instead of saying it's very noisy, you can say it's deafening. Isn't it sound more natural and advanced? Because very noisy is now becomes very common, right? Okay, then next we have very often. Something which has happened very often, every day happen. I talk over call with her very often, which means I talk with her over call every single day, very often. Every day means within 2 days, within 3 days, or maybe every day. So I talk with her over call very often. Instead of saying very often, that's something you want to express, that I do this constantly, within 1 day, within 2 days, every week, every month. So instead of saying very often, you can say frequently. I talk her over call very frequently. You cannot use the word very with frequently, because frequently in itself means very often. So you can say, I talk over call with her frequently. So we are in a touch of each other frequently. So we always in a touch of each other. We always talk with each other. We always text each other frequently, which means every week, within every 2 days, you talk with her. So you are in a touch with her frequently. Okay, so instead of saying very often, you can say frequently. Did you go to school very often? Yes, I go to school frequently. Okay, which means frequently, every single day, very often. Instead of using very often, you can say frequently. Let's see next one. Next is very funny. Oh, we always watch movie very funny. A lot of people like to watch, even I like to watch movies, very funny movies. So instead of saying I like to watch very funny movies, you can say I love to watch hilarious movies. So it always gives me a relaxation to my mind, and I feel I'm able to study or whatever I want to do more and more. So it always give you a relaxation whenever we watch a funny movies. So instead of saying very funny, that movie was hilarious. Instead of saying that movie was very funny or you are very funny, you are hilarious. Okay, this is how you can use very funny. Okay, and this way you can replace the word very funny by using the word hilarious. Let's see, next is very glad. Very glad. So I'm very glad that today you are gonna come here and you are coming to my home today. Okay, instead of saying very glad, you can say I'm overjoyed. I'm overjoyed to see you here. I'm overjoyed that you are coming. So see, you can see now, you can benchmark, you can compare that very glad is not sounds so impressive or so good in comparison of overjoyed. So overjoyed is always sounds very impressive and more natural and fluent. So replace this word very glad and use overjoyed. You can use this with your friends, family, relative, that I'm overjoyed to got a call with you. I'm overjoyed that you are coming. I'm overjoyed that we are gonna trip together. So this is what this is how you can replace very glad with overjoyed. Hope you guys are like this lesson, today's lesson. And if you have any problem, any query, as I always asked you, that please ask me in the comment section. I will definitely try to solve all your problems. So make sure. And guys, today I have a homework for you. The words which you just learned right now, you can just give me one sentence in the comment section by using those words. Instead of using very, you should use those words and then make a sentence and leave in a comment section, and I will read all your comments and I will definitely reply you also. Okay, if your sentence is right or wrong, whatever it is, I will definitely reply you. So make sure, don't forget to do your homework, because it is important for everyone who is learning. So make sure you're not gonna miss your homework, and make sure at least make a one sentence related to these words that you just learned right now, and make a one sentence and leave it in a comment section, and I will read all your sentences and I will give you a reply. Okay, until then guys, I will next time I will bring you a very nice lesson for you. So until then, take care everyone.